Hello friends, this is Praveen and today we are going to learn about the chapter motion and we are going to solve some questions based on what we have studied in the chapter motion part 1 and 2. So if you have not seen that videos until, I recommend you to watch them first before seeing this. So we have the first question is there are n steps, each of the dimensions L, B and H. If a man covers n steps, what would be its distance and displacement? So what does it say? So there are steps. We let's take this side as H, B, this as H, this as B, this as H. There are n number of times and this is given as L. So we have to find out the distance and the displacement if the man covers n number of steps. So pause this video and give it a shot. So let's move to the solution. So first we have to only take up one step because all the steps are identical. So we have to take a focus on this. We know that it is perpendicular because all steps are perpendicular from here. And now what is given that instead of L we can write a new thing that is, we know by the formula a square plus b square is equals to c square. So we have this as the b square plus h square by root. So what would be the distance traveled? That would be this black line I have drawn and that is n times. So this, now this times L. So we can take the distance traveled by the man as b plus h. B plus h, that would be the distance of one step traveled by the man, and times the n. So this would be the distance traveled by the man. So what would be the displacement? We know that the displacement only cares about the shortest path. So if there was the first step was here and it was the n step, we have to calculate this line only, and we know that this line is equals to root b square plus h square. So this would be also root b square plus h square and so on. So this would be also root b square plus h square and so on. So the displacement would be root 2b 2 square plus h square, and we have to do it n times. So this would be the its displacement and this is the distance traveled. So what if the question asked, instead of giving the variables, now it said that instead of b it is 3 centimeter, 3 and this is 4, and an ant crawls around this. So find the displacement if it crawls. Let's take 100 stairs. So this would be this we have drawn 4, but total we have to take up 100 steps. That would be impractical to draw. So what we can do is, what would be the distance? It would, if ant cross here and it goes on like that way, the distance traveled would be 3 plus 4, that is 7, and it is crawling 700 times. That would be 7 into 100, that is 700 centimeters. So this 700 centimeters is the displacement. What would be the distance traveled? So we can take this. We know we have to find out this length, and the root of 3 plus 4 square, that would be 5. So we have the 100 steps. So there would be 500 centimeters of the displacement and 700 meters of the distance. So this is the distance and this is the displacement. So if it could ask what is the difference between the displacement and the distance, or what was the path more than the displacement, so it is because we have to minus, that is 200 centimeters. So we have given up. So let's move to the next question based on the motion. So now it is said that a body moves 6 meter on north, 8 meters, that is 8 meters in each direction, and 10 meters vertically upwards. So it would be where in this marker is point, that would be in this direction. I could not draw it 3D. So we have to find out the total what is the displacement of the body. So pause this video and give it a shot. So let's move to its solution. So first let's calculate. Let's see in this path. So what would be the displacement? This would be the displacement. So we know that by root d plus h square is equals to hypotenuse square, hypotenuse. So by this we get is 36 plus 80, that is 64, that is equals to 100, and root 2 is equals to 10. So this side is 10 meters. Now what we have to find out, we can take this side as this. So now what would be the displacement between this side and this side? So by seeing we can see like that way, that this side is 10 and this side is 10, we are seeing from this angle. So now what would be this side? We know that it would be 100, that is the square of 10 plus 10 by root, then we get is root 200, that is also written as 10 root 2. So this would be the displacement of the body. So let's move to the question number 3. In this question, we have is a wheel of 1 meter. 1 meter in radius, and the point is at a below. And now after a half revolution, we have to find its displacement. So we have a wheel of 1 meter. Let's take the point as anywhere, and the point to which, for example, the point where we are taking it is here. So what would be the displacement when the point or the wheel covers half the distance? So it would be this, when this point reaches on the top. So we have to find out this distance. So pause this video and give it a shot. So let's move to its solution. So what would it be? So now we know that the circumference of the circle is 2 pi r, and if it is covering the half the distance, it would be pi, and the radius is 1 on 1. So let's take it as 1 pi. So this would be pi. So the circumference would be a pi, and this is a radius. So how much distance it would cover? When it would go, it would be on the top, this point. Yeah, this point would be on the top, and now it would cover the twice this distance. So when we have is this and this distance, it would go twice of this, plus it would. Now it would roll pi, so it would it is revolving around its axis, so that would be pi. So this would be pi because it is revolving around its half of its circumference, and we know that its radius is 1 meter. So this length would be also 2 times its radius, that is 2 meters. So what is the displacement? We know that it is the right angle. We can calculate by this is given as base square plus height square is equals to hypotenuse square. By taking the root 2, we can calculate this side. So we know we have given this as the 2 meters, so it would be 4, and this as the pi. This is given as pi square, and taking this as the root. So we have is the root 4 plus pi. So this would be the pi square plus 4 in the root. So this is its displacement. So let's move to the next question. So in this question, it is a circular field and its radius is r. So what does a runner do? It starts running from this point and it covers a complete round in 6 minutes. it completes one round in 6 minutes. So we have to find out the displacement and the distance traveled by the body. The displacements at the 1 minute 30 seconds, 5 minutes, then we have is 3 minutes and 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So we have to find out the displacement of all of these. So give it a pause this video and give it a shot. So let's find out its answer. So what is, if it is covering in a, it takes 60 minutes to cover the circular round. So in 1 minute, what would be the distance covered? Because now we can do it in multiply by 60 to get 360 seconds. So it complete one round in 360 seconds. So it complete, we can say that it completes 1 degree in 1 second. So it covers 1 degree in 1 second. So what would be, let's take the first scenario, 1.30 seconds. That would be 60 seconds. 60 seconds plus 30 seconds. So that would be, it covers one distance, so it would be 90 degrees. So what would be the displacement when it is 90 degrees? We can take this as the R. This is R and this is also R. So now what would be its displacement? We know that this side is R root 2. So the displacement at the 90 degree or 1 minute 30 seconds, it would be R root 2. So what would be the displacement after 5 minutes? So after 5 minutes, where would the body reach? So after 5 minutes, we can do is 5 into 60, that is 300 degrees. So after the 300 degrees, it is only left with 60 degrees. So we can see a equilateral triangle is formed because these two sides are equal. So these two sides angles would be also equal. So now the displacement of this angle is R. So what would be the displacement after 3 minutes? So while would be a 3 minute length, that would be half, because it takes 60 minutes, 6 seconds, 6 minutes to cover the full distance and 3 minutes to cover the half distance. So the displacement would be this line, that is R plus R. So that would be 2R. What would be the displacement after 4 minutes and 30 seconds? So after 4 minutes and 30 seconds, when we will say that 4 into 60 plus 30, that is equals to 270 degrees. It would be here, that would be 260. So what we have to calculate the displacement? This is same as calculating a displacement from here. In this case was R, and this would be 2 root R root 2. So here also it is R. So the displacement is root 2 2R root. So it is R root 2. So these were the displacement body would cover, or the athlete would cover when it is running around the circular path. So let's move to the next question. So in this we have is a car, and it is traveling towards the point A to B, which is about 160 meters away, and it's the car takes about 18 seconds. And now the car takes the U-turn and comes to the point which is 240 meters away from the point A, that name it as a point C. And taking this path, it takes, this is 360, it takes about 6 seconds. So now we have to find out the average speed and velocities from the A to B, and average speeds and velocities from B to C. So pause this video and give it a shot. So let's move to its solution. So let's take the first as the average speed. So now average speed from point A to B. So now the body is covering 360 meters in 18 seconds. So it would be, the displacement would be 20 meters per second. So this is the speed. 18, that is 18 seconds. Now average velocity would be from A to B would be the displacement. So now the body is moving in a straight line, so displacement would be 360 and 360, and the distance traveled, time taken is 18 seconds. So the speed and the distance would be equal, that is 20 meter per second and 20 meter per second. Now let's move to the what would be the displacement if this average velocity and the average speed when the body travels from B to C with reference to A. So now we know that now the body has average speed falls first, average there is total distance plus total time. So total time would be 18 seconds plus 16 seconds, that would be 24 seconds. 24 seconds, and now the body has covered 360 plus now it has we are not adding this distance because it is the distance from here. We have to subtract this distance with add this distance. So that would be 360 minus 240, that is 360 plus 120. So this would come as again the 20 meter per second. But now the average displacement, average velocity would be changed because now the displacement is only 240 meters and it takes about 24 seconds. That is 240 meters and it takes 24 seconds. So now the average speed would be average velocity would be 10 meter per second. So these were the changes in the speeds and the displacements when the body was moving from A to B and B to C. So let's move to the next question. So now in this we have a body covers the distance S with a speed of 40 km per hour and it returns with the same path with a speed of 60 km per hour. We have to find out the average speed at which the body was traveling. So by the we know that average speed is equals to total distance by total time. So now the total time is also not given and the total distance is not given. We can take the distance, let's take the distance as variable s. So the total distance would be 2s, and we can find out the time when we take the distance as s. We know that d is equals to b by s by t, that is s into t. So now the time would be is equals to displacement, that is the distance divided by speed. So we have is s plus 40 plus this was the time t1, that is going to that, and let's take this time as t2 when the body was returning. So it would be s plus 60. So when we take this as let's solve this, that would be 240 at the bottom, 240, that would be 6s plus that would be 4s. So this would be 4s plus, that is 10s divided by 2s into 240. 240, then we will know that 2s and s would go cut out and this would remain 1 by 5 of the distance of 240. So divided by 5 of the 240 we get is divided by 5, so it would be 4 and left with 8, 48 meter per second. So the average speed of this car would be 48 meter per second. So let's move to the next question. So in this question we have is a train which is moving in this direction with a speed of 100 meter per second, and here we have is another train which is also moving with a 100 meter per second, and the distance between the two trains are 20 kilometers, and a gun was fired from a train A, so it bounces back from the two trains until the two trains are collided. So can you tell me what is would be the distance traveled by the bullet if the speed of the bullet was 200 meters per second? So pause this video and give it a shot. So let's move to its solution. So we can first calculate what would be the time after which the train would collide. So now this is 200 kilometers and this train is moving with 100 meter in this direction and 100 meter in this direction. So they are covering the some of the distances in 1 second. So we have is 100 plus 100, that is 200. 200 meter per second. So now they are covering 200 meter per second in 1 second, and they have to cover about 20 kilometers, or we can take that as 20,000 meters divided by 200 meter per second, and the meter would go out. So now they have to cover, they would take 100 seconds to collide. So what would be the distance traveled by the bullet which is bouncing in 10 seconds if it is moving at 200 meter per second? So we directly multiply this is given as speed and this is given as the time, so multiply by 200 meter per second, so that would be equals to 2 zeros followed by 2 zeros, that would be is equals to 20,000 meters. So it would cover 20 kilometers in that amount of time. So when it would reach here and rebounce it, it would only cover a 20 kilometers. So friends, this was the questions based on the part 1 and the part 2. So friends, I hope that you like this video, and at the last, thanks for watching.